Hey guys, for your fairy tale guys, I want you guys to be reading, remember reading your books, reading your mentor text, whatever text that it was. I want you guys to have those mentor texts fresh in your mind because that's what you're adapting, right? So continue working on your fairy tale assignment. Today, I want you guys to kind of reread a part of your draft and then look for words that quite aren't quite right. Something that you're writing and it just doesn't quite make sense. And when you do that, we talked about in some of our previous writing lessons, we're always revising and editing as we go. And this is a time for you to kind of pause and do that. So I want you to, if you have a couple of strategies that you can use if you're writing this out manually down on a piece of paper, you can write different words in the margin. If you made a word wall, some of you do that. Some of you are really good at keeping that in a word wall, something that you always know. You can check that. Or if you're typing this out, you can highlight it as well. So there's a couple different strategies and things that for you to do to go back and adapt your writing and change what you're working on. So if a part of your, a part or a section of your fairy tale or even a couple of words isn't quite making sense, try to use that word in a few different ways. You can look up a synonym or something else, or maybe rearrange how you're writing that word. So after you do that, I want you guys to spend some time revising and editing and um, and do that because I often will say that I'm like add a little bit more detail, add a little bit more pop. Some of you have even commented on that, maybe adding a little bit more detail to kind of add some depth to your writing because some of you will or some of you are changing just only small parts. You're not really changing a ton of it. Remember, like in our text that we've been going over, Goldilocks versus Brownylocks, they were similar. Goldilocks wanted to just come into a house, and Brownylocks kind of did the same thing. But there's a few different aspects. Remember, you're changing some small things to your fairy tale. Okay, so remember that. And after you've done some editing and revising, I want you to kind of go back and just uh, you know ask yourself, typically, what are some ways. So what typically happens at the end of a fairy tale? What typically happens, right? Something usually happens, right? They Everything kind of comes together. Something happens. The whoever your characters are figure out the problem. So as you're doing that, remember you have to wrap this up, and so think of something that is an effective ending. Something that what were the problems at the beginning of the story? Okay, because remember they want to get into some sort of trouble, right? So think about how you want to wrap this up, and as you do that, um, challenge yourself to find the problems that your story is. You remember that story. If it was Three Little Pigs, if it was Three Billy Goats Gruff, or whatever, remember remember what that person or that story did, that character did. You don't have to do the exact same thing, but go back and get an example of that. Or even go to Epic and look up fairy tales and see how some things are wrapped up. But think about a couple of different endings that you want to do. All right. You're only going to obviously have one ending, but choose one that you want to do. And then maybe ask an adult or someone else, a brother, sister, a sibling, to be your audience. And then remember, you're going to kind of make that final scene, the ending, come alive for your audience. All right. So do those things. Kind of reread certain parts of your story, your draft that you're working on. Kind of find some spots that need to be fixed because I've looked through it and everybody has something always. Even great writers always have something that they can fix, something that they can change, something that they can revise and edit. And that's what we're going to be working on this next couple of days. Okay, so continue to do your great work. I love seeing your guys' work in the Google Classroom. You guys are doing fabulous. Okay, keep doing great work.